So someone left a comment under one of my recent videos asking about, do I know how they would increase their conscientiousness? How would they increase their conscientiousness? How do you increase conscientiousness in yourself? So this comes back to the agency question. And there are a few things you can do. If you feel like you can be a better you than you currently are, there are a few things you can do. I think a lot of this comes down to hacking your inner bot. So you have underlying thought processes and underlying presumptions about the world, underlying stories. In psychology, they might call it a schema, that sort of thing. You've got an underlying story and ideas about reality that kind of drive your subconscious. And if you want to change your impulses, you need to change the story underneath them. So, what's a good way to put this? What you're talking about is increasing your agency. Now, in a strict sense, agency refers to our ability to act. And so, does someone have agency over gravity? No, they don't. You know what I mean? So, like, in a total sense, agency is our ability to act. And there are many things that impede our ability to act. But when we're talking in the sort of personal self-help, like self-help philosophy kind of sphere of things, agency is more what the word we use to refer to are your instincts and intuitions holding you back from what you really want to be or really want to be doing. Are your impulses holding you back? Are you in control of your intuitions and your impulses, or are they in control of you? So, as Kurt says a lot of the time, we're bots. We have subconscious, even evolved genetic programming, and we run these programs like bots. But in understanding the ways in which we are bots, we hope to gain some agency over that programming and become less of a bot. Okay, so to put this in a really great example, I think, is your agency over food. You see someone who's overweight and they're like, I really want to lose weight. And they wish they were thin and beautiful and fit and attractive and all those great things, yet when someone puts food in front of their face, they can't help but eat it, especially unhealthy food, right? So you can't put down the cake. What's happening there most of the time, look, there is another possibility that what you actually truly value is the food over the goal of being more attractive and more fit. But so that might be the case. When you say I wish I was thin and beautiful, maybe you're lying to yourself, because what you really actually value is the food and lifestyle that goes along with how you got where you are. But in the case that you really, really do wish that you were different and that you had more agency over your exercise and eating, in the case of that scenario, what's happening is that you say, I wish I was this, I wish I was that, but someone puts a slice of cake in front of you and you can't help but eat it. You've got a conflict between your higher values, probably more your conscious values, what you consciously want to be, but your immediate impulses. And so the more you can gain agency over those impulses, the more in control of yourself you can train to be. And so that's going to increase your agency. So there are a few things that we can say about this. I hope that well illustrates the idea of having agency over your impulses. So that, because the question was, how do I increase conscientiousness in myself? So what I'm thinking is that the person who asked this, there are goals that they wish they were achieving and striving towards, but they are not. And so you're looking for some motivation, you're looking for whatever. You're looking for some get up and go, that sort of thing. So that's fine. So you're still dealing with impulses at the end of the day, because you might be sitting on the couch, eating chips and playing video games, but you might think, I wish I could get up and do something productive and work towards something that I truly value rather than finishing this video game. And you are dealing with an impulse in that moment, because the decision to get up and act and contribute to what goal it is that you really value, that's going to be an impulse. So a few things we can say about this. Have you ever heard the saying, give a man a why and he can bear any how? Give a man a why, as in a reason for doing something, and he can bear any how. He can bear any circumstance or hardship on the way to fulfilling that goal. And so this is going to come down to what sort of personality you are. For myself, I have a personality that, what's the best way to say it? I don't seek out conflict, but a part of me is comfortable with conflict and sometimes even enjoys conflict. And so putting things in terms of a battle is motivating for me. Okay, so when you look at competition and struggle for dominance and those things, that works on me. And so if I want to achieve a thing, putting it in terms of a battle or overcoming some hardship or some foe, that works on me. And look, This is actually true. It doesn't have to be a story. So hopefully if you listen to this channel, you get a you get a feeling for the bigger picture. We're talking about genes, we're talking about civilizations, we're talking about survival, all of this great stuff. And through understanding a lot of these things, I feel like I've begun to understand also what's at stake. And to understand that, not to sound hyperbolic, but I actually think this is true, that if the right people don't do the right things within the right time frame, there really possibly is the future of humanity at stake. Now, we've spoken about this before. A lot of the forces that we try to describe, the end goal of what they want is dysgenia. A lot of people, a lot of this drive for this equalitarian, anti-hierarchical, feminine virtues kind of thing, the end goal of it is dysgenia. It is sitting around equal in misery, sitting around in a slum, equally poor, equally low status. And so for me, the bigger question is, what is the meaning of human existence? What is our evolution and our existence going to amount to? Okay? Is what we are working towards cathedrals and great art and science and technology and conquering the stars and, getting out into space and amazing feats of human ability and agency? Is that where we're heading? Or are we heading towards sitting around in a dirty slum, ruled over by an inner elite who didn't get there through merit and equally miserable and equally poor, but feeling good that no one else is crawling out of the barrel, no other crabs are crawling out of the barrel, so to speak. So where is all this headed? What's the bigger picture? This is the sort of things that motivate me. And also knowing that there are forces out there that have deliberately and consciously attacked me and my people and our wealth, our prosperity, our gender relations, our familial relations, our history, our commons. There are people out there who have declared war on me and my genes. You see, this is where I start to get motivated, because I get fired up about this. There are people out there who wish that everything I am and everything that I value was either subjugated or exterminated. And not, they say it consciously. They're following their programming as well, but they've stated these conscious goals, a lot of them. They have declared war on me and my lineage and my history and my very genes. And one of the ways in which I can fight that war is to get off my ass and work and speak and go to the gym. The more wealth you amass, the more power you have. The more attractive you are, the more power you have. And all of these things come down to power. So that's the level that motivates me, is the bigger picture like that. I get fired up and I get angry, and that anger is the fuel I need. That anger, and also that responsibility, and just really letting it sink in. What's at stake? What's at stake, If I don't go to the gym, and if I don't look after my health, and I just become some fat slob, my children will be low status, and I'll be low status, my family will be low status, and my children will be low status, and my gene pool will have less opportunity than someone else who didn't do that. We cannot escape the laws of nature, the laws of survival of the fittest, whatever that fittest is. And so, that sort of big picture stuff motivates me. And knowing that knowing that I have been declared war against, and that should I sit at home and do nothing? Should I take the easy way out? Should I not develop that agency and that discipline to be the best that I can be? I'm fighting that war for them. I'm laying down and cowering. I'm raising the white flag and saying, you know what? I could fight for my survival, but I can't be bothered. Because Doom Eternal came out, or this cheesecake's really good. So, knowing what's at stake, getting that bigger picture and letting that guide your emotions, and those emotions giving you the fuel you need, I think is a big part of it. And if you're more on the feminine side of things, if your brain is more feminine, then other things will motivate you. Social conformity, agreeableness, what your friends are doing, what society's doing, that will motivate you a lot. And so if you want to hack that side of yourself, then you need to find a social scene that encourages the right behaviors in you. That's very powerful as well. And look, but we all have to some degree these different tendencies in us as well. And so there is also truth in that saying, that if you want to be a certain thing, hang out with people who are like that, and find that either that group to conform to, or that status hierarchy to compete in. It is true that you will end up like the 5 people you spend the most time with, because we all are social creatures to a degree. So knowing the why, though, that bigger picture, having that train your emotions, I think is very powerful for me, putting things in terms of a battle and a fight. When I go to the gym, I'm hitting metal, like uplifting, sort of dark, aggressive metal, heavy metal. While I lift metal, fire me up, make it a battle, make it a fight, and you trigger that dominance instinct in me. And that's very powerful. And one way you can start to get all these things to really sink into your head is through repetition. And that's also another one of the purposes of these videos, and regularly watching channels like mine or others. And I've done this myself over the years. You find someone who you like their worldview, you click with the way they explain things, and you listen regularly. It's got to be a regular thing, because that regularity starts to trigger the pattern recognition in your brain. Our brains are pattern making machines, and so with regular contact to certain content, you start to rewire your brain as well. You start to rewire through repetition those underlying assumptions or stories that you're working from. So that's very important as well. And so learn the bigger picture through repetition. Hang around with people who are the way you wish you were, and let that act on you as well. Get your emotions. Your emotions are your fuel. Your emotions are your fuel. When everyone's trying to say, oh, don't be angry about this, it's not good to be angry, that is really feminine bullshit because they're just undermining your emotional fuel for whatever purpose, But I say, don't get destructively angry, get constructively angry, get usefully angry. Use that anger or that motivation or that dominance instinct as fuel to do what you have to do to fight for what you believe in. That's very important. We watch all these grandiose movies and play these grandiose storylines in games, but I tell you, you start looking, you look at the real world enough, and there is a grandiose fight for Darwinian survival playing out right in front of your very nose. And you can take part in that. You and your friends can take part in that. So that kind of way of looking at things is great fuel for me. And you rewire that through repetition. You listen to these videos and other videos like mine over and over again, and your brain has a natural tendency to seek status. And so another thing is rewiring your brain to see, or convincing yourself through repetition or social conformity or whatever it is, to see the way that you want to be, to see it as high status. That this is one of the funny things too, coming out of predominantly leftist universities, is a lot of these industries, because they get indoctrinated by Marxists, they have an aversion to money. Now, you can't make money if you hate money and you hate people who make money. Okay? So if you want to be the sort of person who's successful, it is important that you rewire that status hierarchy in your brain as well. So if you think it's disgusting to be fat, if you feel ashamed of being fat, and you think it's high status and beautiful to be thin, that's an important brain hack that you can program yourself with as well. So you have to deprogram your bad habits, your bad instincts and intuitions, and your bad impulses, and reprogram good ones. And you do that through repetition. You do that. You learn through repetition, you reprogram through repetition. So hopefully this channel and others like it are a big help. And if there's more that you would like me to talk about, happy to do that. Just drop me a comment below, even if you want me to talk about the battle, the fight, the bigger picture. I mean, that's great for me too. It's very motivating. The other thing I will say is, if you want personalized help, you should talk to Noah Revoy. This is what he does. He's an agency coach. And so he's very good at what he does. He's very no bullshit. He's a great friend of mine. And I've come to him in the past a lot. He's a very useful dude to know, and he will help you a lot. So you can also just get in touch with him. He has specific programs which help you train your agency. So what that is reprogramming your brain to be the way you want it to be, basically, so that you can be more in line with what it is that you truly value, so that your impulses are not hindering you. And so once again, there are a few different ways if you want to understand that concept. The most clear-cut way I can explain that concept is, if you want to be thin, you need to have agency over the impulse of eating a cake whenever you have a cake put in front of you. You need to be able to control what you eat, and you can train agency over that. A lot of these things in your brain, they're just like muscles as well. They're muscles as well. So the more, just like you want to train a muscle on your body, you pick up a heavy weight, or might not even be that heavy the first time. You pick up a weight and you do it, and the more you do it, the stronger that movement gets. The same with training your brain. The more you say no to eating, the better you get at doing it. The more that muscle in your mind gets trained. There are also other ways in which it's very useful to have agency over your impulses. And in the modern world, I think one common one would be that, say you have emotional issues from a family or past relationships, and they have given you a negative emotional template that you're working from. That can also be quite common. So maybe you don't have motivation because of emotional issues. You've got to work through those emotional issues, and you've got to reprogram that template. And another thing is, maybe you've just been burnt in relationships before, and you go into a new relationship with someone who does not mean you harm, and you misinterpret a misunderstanding as them trying to deliberately mistreat you. Little things like that, So it is very important to have agency over those impulses, and you can train that. So what I would say is repetition, reprogramming what you think is high status, thinking through that a lot, and finally getting in touch with Coach Noah Revoy for personalized coaching. He's very good. He has homework programs and things like that, and he's great to talk to. He can definitely help you increase your agency, which is increasing your agency over your impulses, so that you can be more of what you want to be, whether that's more motivated to exercise, more motivated to work, more hardworking, all those sort of things. You can train your brain. You have a certain template you're born with, you can't change that, but you can definitely be the best you that you can be. So I would recommend that. Repetition, and also getting in touch with Noah Revoy. I'll link him under this video. He's very good at what he does if you want some personalized coaching. And as with most things, if you become a better you need to see the financial output of getting a coach. You need to see it as an investment, because if you increase your conscientiousness, you will make more money as well. And so it's a good investment. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I'll link Noah below. And once again, any other comments or questions, just put them below. Happy to do some more videos talking about this sort of stuff as well.